Hi everyone, my name is Michael van der Meer. I work for PHI Factory as a circular economy accelerator, and I have a background in facility management and a lot of experience in the area of startup and corporate collaboration, something I'm going to share with you today as well. And I love working on the crossroad of innovation and sustainability because I think there's a lot of added value for the whole industry, both facility management and real estate. So today I'm going to talk about the future of urbanization and sustainable development. And one of the things we've created, the SDG ecosystem. So at PHI Factory, we work through three tracks. We have our consultancy, consultants, where we formulate ambitions for organizations, circular ambitions. We have our PHI calculator, where we calculate the circular impact companies can have on CO2 or material flows. And the third one is PHI behavior, where we really focus on changing the behavior of big groups through gamified learning. So those are the three things PHI does. And we empower our clients to make more sustainable impact. So that's basically what we do. And if we look at the impact of the building environment, our environment, our urban environment is currently responsible for 39% of the CO2 emissions and uses up to 40% of our resources. So this is a huge impact on our ecological ceiling. And as you can see, Kate Rayworth is showing here perfectly in our donut economy, that we need to keep within that, below that ecological ceiling, in order to create a safe social foundation to provide us in our needs that we have. So there's a balance we need to be in. We need to keep within that green line to make sure that we have a safe environment to live in. And life has been around 3.8 billion years. So there's a lot of research and development already being done in nature. So people who design and build buildings in our world have a lot to learn from our natural world as well. The donut economy is actually based on the millennial goals and later on became the SDGs. So it's all related to each other. So I will later on talk about the SDGs as well. But first, you all probably know this picture by now. So we were hit by COVID last year. And perhaps we may end up in a recession, but as you can see, it's not the biggest problem we are facing as humanity. Actually, climate change is coming, and after that, even worse, a biodiversity collapse may hit our world. So in order to prevent that, we need to, we were all thinking about, let's use this COVID period to really create a green reset. And we saw positive signs. We actually saw, especially in the beginning, 14.5% less CO2 emissions during the first period in 2020 in March. And we also saw an increase of air quality, clean water, opportunities for biodiversity recovery. So the signs were actually quite positive. And there was this manifest of 170 scientists who say, well, it would be a complete blunder if we do not emerge greener from this corona crisis. So, but as we are slowly gaining back our freedom, it becomes obvious that we are falling back to our old habits. Even worse, we want to overcompensate the things that we have missed. So let's, for example, say shopping or going back on holiday. Everybody is going back on the road, and we see shopping lines formulating. We see traffic jams during rush hour. And well, as soon as possible, everybody's going to book their holiday and fly all over the world again. So did we really change our behavior? And are we going back to the old normal? I think we need to change our behavior. And it's not only, there are signs, so there are facts that are showing that we are going back to the old normal if we look at the environment. So this report of the International Energy Association, they showed us that the increase of CO2 emissions in 2020 is expected to be 5%, which is huge. It's just actually the second largest increase in our history. And a key driver for this is the increase of the demand of coals. So we are not doing so well on the CO2 emissions. And if we look at the country overshoot days expected in 2021, We are also not doing so well on the uses of materials. So if we look at the data of the Netherlands, I put an orange arrow here, you can see that the Earth overshoot day for the Netherlands would be on the 27th of April. That's 2 weeks ago. In 2020 was the 3rd of May, and in 2019 it was the 4th of May. So instead of moving back the date, we are accelerating towards this date. And this date represents the date that we used up all of our resources that the whole year can generate in 1 year. So we actually have to move the date back to December or January.
Ja, maar dan moet je weten wanneer je moet klikken.
And on the short term, this already delivers us problems. So we see material shortages, especially for the building environment. If you look at the energy transition that we want to make with our buildings, there is actually now a material shortage on polysilicon, which is actually the main material that has been used by the solar panels. We see a shortage in glass, we see a shortage in plastics, and we see a shortage in chips. And those are all due to environmental, logistical, and humanitarian problems in the world. So we are already facing problems at this very moment. But how can we solve those issues? Of course, we can change our behavior, and we actually need to change our behavior, but we also need to work together in an ecosystem because we live in a natural ecosystem. And within this ecosystem, we need to pursue multiple value creation, both socially, economically, and ecologically. Luckily, we have the startups, and there are startups here to save our world. So we need to have this disruptive innovation power of startups and scale-ups to help us to accelerate towards the circular economy. And these startups and scale-ups are tech-driven entrepreneurs and more intrinsically motivated to make the world a better place, which is a very, very strong combination. And this is where the magic actually happens. When you combine the world of startups and corporates and also governments, you see that there becomes a love relationship, especially in the beginning. Well, we all recognize at the beginning we're all at love, we're in heaven, we're on cloud 9. And so you also see this happening in the world of startups and corporates. So the startups actually see, when they look at a corporate, a large launching customer with a big scale to launch their product. And the corporates, the other way around, they see the innovative solutions of their startups to realize their sustainable goals or their commercial goals. So if you combine those two, there's a lot of opportunity going on there. And just in a real relationship, you both have to be open to these kinds of relationships. But how do you find each other? Well, in the real world, we have Tinder for this. But how do we do this in the real world? How do we do this in the business world? And that's where we came up with the idea to create an SDG ecosystem. We mapped 100 Dutch entrepreneurs in 2020, and we mapped them on the SDGs, which is kind of, it's not so easy to do because they are most of the times adding value to multiple SDGs. But you choose which SDG is the most dominated one in your business model. And we launched it as an open source model, but it's now grown to almost more than 250 startups and scale-ups that we plotted on one of the SDGs. Shout out to Wouter as well, because he helped with this. And we really want to create, with this transparent ecosystem, a community which facilitates between the collaboration between corporates and startups, but also governmental organizations. So, we are now linking them to each other. And to illustrate that, what is trending in the world of startups and scale-ups, but also in the world of real estate. Here are some buzzwords for you. So we have clean tech, we have biomimicry, we have biophilic, we have urban farming, we have healthy buildings, we have circularity, we have urban mining, all nice buzzwords. But to make them a little bit more concrete, I will show you a couple of startup examples that are related to the real estate world. So if you look at clean tech, which is a collective term for forms of technology that contribute to a cleaner environment and ensure energy savings, which is related to SDG number 7, we have a beautiful example of Plant E. They are actually generating electricity coming from plants. And they put electrodes into the soil of a plant to generate electricity to light up lamps. So it's very cool. They put them together in a park in Rotterdam, actually. And as you can see, well, it's a small picture, but there are these small light dots that are actually burning through the electricity generated by the soil. Plenty is one of those startups working on that. And the other one I wanted to share with you is Fizi. And they have created a glass window with solar panel technology in it. So it's transparent and it generates electricity at the same time. So imagine a facade of a building full of those glass windows of Fizi and a roof full of plants with the technology of Plant E. That would actually be an energy generating building. And then we have biomimicry, which is actually using the natural designs and principles and copying to our own building environment. So let's take, for example, Breeze, which is a zero energy hotel, the world's first zero energy hotel in Amsterdam. And it's actually based on a concept of Ben Bronsma, Earth, Wind and Fire, which is designed on a termite hill, you know, where all the termites and the ants are. And it's actually, it's a climate system where through a natural flow of air, it's being cooled down and heated up. So no added extra energy is needed for that. So it's really using the technique of nature that is given us. And the other one I wanted to share with you is Basilisk, which is actually a solution for self-healing concrete. So they have created a material that if a cracks appears in the concrete, it self-heals itself, as you can see.
Shall we try to stand up?
So biomimicry is really using the world's intelligence. And we see that, well, especially in the Netherlands, square meters are very scarce. So we are a small country, and if we want to produce enough food for ourselves, but also well, export it to other countries, we have to look at our urban environment from a different perspective. We need to produce our food where we eat it. And these are just a couple of examples of that. If you look at herbs, they have a concept in the greenhouse in Utrecht. And there, as you can see, they do vertical farming. So they are producing herbs, but also vegetables in this restaurant. And those can be consumed right downstairs in the restaurant of the greenhouse. And the other one is quite new. It's in Rotterdam. We have a lot of water as well, as you probably know, in the Netherlands. And so we also are looking for opportunities to create floating farms. In Rotterdam is actually one with cows on it, where we are producing food on a floating farm to consume our people that are living in Rotterdam. So we are putting farms on roofs. We are putting them indoors, and we are even creating floating farms right now. And healthy buildings always have been an important topic in the real estate. But during this COVID crisis, we really understood that this was actually the main topic. So we see a lot of development in the air quality area. Let's say, for example, UO. I know they are, I think, on one of the other days as well speaking. Okay. So if you're interested in watching them, I think on the 19th, Wouter can tell you. But they have an air quality sensor to monitor the amounts of fresh air coming in, the CO2 levels, the humidity. So you can really manage the air quality, which is very important, especially during this corona crisis, but also afterwards, where we may face new viruses or need to control the existing virus. And another trend is biophilic, which is more incorporating nature into the buildings.
Sound keeps coming and going.
And it's the urban jungle. And the last but not least, circularity, where we have excess material exchange, which is creating an export or supply and demand, bringing together on the platform of waste streams. So they want to turn waste into wealth. And that's also what Tribu does through urban mining. They turn waste into beautiful new furniture and interiors. So we have to look at it from an integrated perspective, not the traditional wave process approach, design a building, build it, operate it, then we have the the company cost, and last the environmental impact. We have to look at from the other way around, because you can see clearly that the biggest impact, both financially and environmentally, is at the end of the process. So we have to think from the user's approach, where we think from the environmental impact of a building and then go back to the design. And in each phase, we need to connect the dots. So in each phase of that process, we can add the innovative power of startups and scale-ups into the process in order to make the whole building more and more circular. So, and we would love to help you connecting those dots by creating potential matches, forming circular coalitions with your suppliers, or through circular procurement. So, let's help building those matches. If you're interested in our SDG ecosystem, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or check out our website. Thank you for your time.
Well, Michael, that was amazing. Thank you very much. I have one question for you, because that overview is of course amazing. Thank you for, it's a pleasure to help you with creating that overview. How can people apply to get on that overview? Because I can imagine that a lot of people would like to be in there as well. Where should they go to?
Go to our website, www.pfactory.com, and there you see SDG ecosystem. You can ask for the whole overview if you want as a company.
So you can
download also if you can download it as a PDF version, and we can help you do a small search. But if you're a startup or scale up and you want to be added to the SDG ecosystem, you can also go to our website, upload your logo, and tell us what you do, and we will assess that and then put you in the ecosystem.
Well, cool. Well, thank you very much for being with us today. We will let you go. Enjoy your day, and hope to see you soon.